Week 17 of the NFL on CBS. The Steelers will be watching Saturday night's Ravens-Packers game with great interest. One Baltimore loss or one Pittsburgh win clinches the AFC North for the Steelers. Playoff spots and seedings are at stake in Seahawks-Panthers. The Giants at the Raiders for the inside track to the #1 overall pick. Remember, a win in Week 17 last year helped cost New York a shot at the top pick. All right, here's your current NFL draft order, bringing us really to Giants-Raiders, 4 o'clock Eastern on CBS. The first meeting in NFL history of two teams on 9-game losing streaks. We're always winning with Ryan Wilson, though. All right, Ryan, I'm not going to sell this as a great game, okay? We're going to watch because we want to know who might have the #1 pick when we get to the draft in 2026 in Pittsburgh. Fans will be rooting for maybe some growth and positivity, but probably also a loss. Who would each team target if they end up with the #1 pick? Talking about the Giants and the Raiders.
Hey, Chris, good to see you. I'm sort of shaking my head. I joked about this earlier, that people that think the NFL is scripted, this would be the perfect example, because on what planet will we see the Giants and the Raiders play for the right for this first overall pick with the stakes so high, as it were? It's almost like relegation if we're watching European soccer here. So here's the thing. One of these teams desperately needs a quarterback. The other has their quarterback in Jackson Dart. And maybe the lesson is this, Chris. You talked about the Giants sort of hurting themselves last year around this time for not getting the first overall pick. They still got Abdul Carter at #3, and of course traded back out for Jackson Dart, who appears to be their QB of the future. You could argue Jackson Dart's had a better season than Cam Ward. It's been close. Neither's been great. But here's the thing. If you're the New York Giants and you get stuck with the first-round pick, you cannot trade down, and I would imagine they will be able to trade down in this draft class simply because of Fernando Mendoza. You're going to target some offensive linemen. Spencer Fano would be an example if you trade down. If you stay put, you are taking Arbel Reese, and you're feeling great about it. You might say, well, you just took Abdul Carter last year. You have Brian Burns, you have Sexy Dexy. It does not matter. That defense stinks, so you need more players. And Arbel Reese is going to draw comparisons to Abdul Carter and Micah Parsons in terms of the way he's going to play coming out and the versatility, the athleticism, the power that he plays with. He is that sort of special talent. If you do trade down, you need to get a right tackle to pair with Andrew Thomas. Evan Neal's contract's up. He has struggled forever since arriving, both with injuries and consistency. And the other name I'll mention, another Ohio State player, as it turns out, Cardinal Tate, wide receiver. Malik Neighbors is coming back from that ACL. If you trade down and get him inside the top 10, that suddenly feels like a wide receiver group. We're going to have to probably re-sign Wan'Dale Robinson. That's going to make life eminently easier for Jackson Dart. And, of course, you get Cam Scadaboo back from the season-ending injury he suffered a month or so ago.
All right, how about Vegas? If Vegas ends up with the #1 pick here, what should they do?
You're gonna draft Fernando Mendoza, and you're not gonna think twice about it. I don't think they would entertain trade down offers. And then later in the draft, in round 2, or maybe you trade back into round 1, you're gonna get someone like Mekhi Lemon, who's a slot receiver. They moved on from Jacoby Myers, and Jacoby Myers is doing pretty well in Jacksonville, and their wide receiver room is struggling, mostly because they have some young guys there. And Tyler Lockett's still there in the last year of his deal. If for some reason you trade down, and maybe you get a Dante Moore at an extra first-round pick, maybe you can land an edge rusher like a Reuben Bain Jr. Some folks think he's going to be a top 10 pick. You talk to folks around the league, he might be closer to middle to bottom half of the first round. So there's going to be options there. If you're not solely in love with Fernando Mendoza and you like Dante Moore, should he come out, or Ty Simpson, those are alternatives. But I like to say all the time on the podcast with First Pick with our guy Rank Hardline, don't overthink it. Take Fernando Mendoza, fix the quarterback room, and then figure the rest of the stuff out as it comes your way when the draft comes around in day 2 and day 3.
Yeah, plenty of those guys that we saw on the graphic. Time to improve their draft stock, if you will, before the combine comes, with many of those teams involved still in the college football playoff. Ryan, the Browns are tied with 3 other teams at 3 and 12. Lovely place to be. Are they back in the market for a quarterback, or do you think they've seen something promising enough from Shedeur Sanders?
Browns fans have an interesting love affair with Shedeur Sanders, less so with Dylan Gabriel. Both players have been below average, for being honest, in the starts they've had, 5 and 6, I believe. The issue is the offensive line is deplorable. A lot of that's injuries. A lot of that's just not very good players who are second and third teamers. So now the question becomes this, Chris. Will the offensive line fix the situation for whatever young quarterback you decide to roll with? If I'm picking third or higher, and you have your pick between Fernando Mendoza, Dante Moore, and Ty Simpson, I'm taking a quarterback. And we have a long list where history tells us that you can draft a quarterback any time after round 1 in 1 year, and the very next year you're taking a quarterback top 10 if you end up being there. And you see how I have my quarterback slotted here. John Mateer may come back. I think he sort of sneaks into the day 2, day 3 range. Carson Beck, teams like Carson Beck because of the way he plays in pro-style offense. He's been okay this year, certainly better than Georgia, but not great. So, and after that, you see the day 3 names and a lot of surprises. If we had told you this in August, Kate Klubnik, Nussmeier, of course, Drew Aller. But the bottom line is this: if you're the Browns, I think you target a quarterback. We'll talk about a team in a second, in the New Orleans Saints, that may be in a different situation, even though they drafted quarterback Tyler Shough 40th overall. But the Browns have needs at quarterback, at wide receiver. The running back situation is a little iffy now with Quinshon Judkins coming off that surgery. They have a lot of things they need to fix, even though they crushed their draft class this year outside of the quarterback position with the other players they landed.
And look, they don't have to be day 2 or day 3 picks. We saw the Cardinals do it, how many years ago? Josh Rosen, 10th overall. Obviously, They changed the head coach, and then Kyler Murray goes number 1 overall after that. So if it doesn't work out year 1, you know this. Teams are quick and ready to move on. All right, one quarterback, you just mentioned him, Tyler Shough, showing some real promise here, Ryan, in the second half of the season for New Orleans. Saints have won 3 straight games. They're headed to Nashville to take on this year's top pick, Cam Ward, and the Titans. What are you seeing from both those rookie QBs?
Yeah, so if you're the Saints, I think you're rolling with Tyler Shough, in part because Kellen Moore, now going to be the second-year coach after this season, drafted Tyler Shough 40th overall. And as you know, Tyler Shough's played out of his mind, so congratulations to him for doing that, because there was a lot of skepticism, myself included. So then you can fix the defense, you can get a wide receiver where they need. We saw Chris Olave talking about retiring. The secondary has needs there as well. R. Mason Thomas is one of my favorite edge rushers. He's a little bit undersized, but I think he's a first-round talent. And then when you talk about the Titans, it's the same conversation at the different end of the spectrum as we had with the Chiefs a moment ago. You are going to fix this offensive line. I love the idea of pairing Caden Proctor with his former teammate J.C. Latham, who they drafted in the first round a few years ago. You need some more help at wide receiver in Casey Concepcion, who's a slot receiver for the turnability, and then bolstering the edge rush position as well, because Arden Key, among other guys, are going to be up for free agency. And this team may not be that far away. They're not good in that right now, but next year could be sort of a Houston Texans 2023 turnaround type situation to get everything right in the offseason.
All right. Our Ryan Wilson all over the futures of these NFL franchises for us, and of course, year-round with the First Pick podcast. Scan that QR code right now to find it, or look for it wherever you listen to your podcasts with the First Pick.
When you need your sports news all the time,
we've got breaking news to bring to you.
CBS Sports HQ gives you a snapshot of all the sports that matter to you.
Big news coming out of the NFL. A lot of movement in the rankings this week.
With highlights.
What a finish at the final round of play.
And in-depth analysis.
Can they three-peat? Tony Romo joins the conversation.
What can you say about this game?
When you need your sports in a snap,
we're bringing you that breaking news right here on HQ.
Find it on CBS Sports HQ. Streaming free anywhere you are.